Hi guys, Miss Stacy here with another episode of Online Church for Home of Christ Kids. I'm so glad you're with us today. This week's lesson finds us 1 week before Easter, and there are a lot of big things happening with Jesus in the story today. In fact, big is the key word of the day. We're going to be hearing about God's grace and that it's big, really big. It's so big it can handle anything we have done. That got me thinking about other big things, maybe the biggest things. Do you happen to know what's the biggest animal on the planet? If you answered blue whale, you're correct. A grown blue whale can be about the size of 20 elephants. That's huge. Any idea what the biggest living thing is on the planet? I'll give you a hint. You can find it right here in California. The biggest living thing on the planet is the giant sequoia tree. They grow hundreds of feet tall and live for thousands of years. Have you guys ever seen one before? Last summer, I got to visit a sequoia grove with my family when we were on a vacation. They were spectacular, awesome, crazy big. But in fact, God's grace is even bigger. And by the way, if you don't know what that term God's grace means, that's okay. We're going to learn about that in the lesson today too. So stay tuned for some great singing, a really important Bible lesson, and remember that we love you and God is good all the time.
To your arms, the riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace, light of the world, forever reign. You are good when there's nothing good in me. You are love.
grace and forgiveness and mercy. And oh my goodness, this is like so hard.
What have you learned so far?
Well, grace is different than forgiveness. It's like forgiveness plus getting something you couldn't get on your own.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everybody, welcome to today's show. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Jennifer.
Man, it is so good to be with you guys today. So, Jen, I just want you to know I forgive you for the water. I probably had it coming, but I'm not giving you any grace because you don't get anything special out of that. However, today's Bible story, I brought the button again. It's ready to go. Today's Bible story is, what do you think? You ready? You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit it this time. The people, the Pharisees, had convinced them that it was time to have Jesus killed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really not fair.
Totally not fair at all. And in that time, like a lot of Christians wear a cross and they'll show it and it means like, hey, I'm a Christian. But in that time, in ancient Rome, like a cross was a horrible sign because it was a horrible, brutal way to be killed and punished by the government. And so in the story, Jesus actually gets nailed to the cross for your sin, for my sin, for your sin. And he's nailed between a couple of thieves. And one of the thieves starts making fun of Jesus and like telling him, man, if you're who you say you are, get down off the cross. And the other thief realizes, hey, wait a second. And he tells his buddy this. He goes, hey, that guy is being punished for no reason. You and I are being punished, but he's being punished for no reason. And he asks Jesus this crazy question. He says, hey, will you remember me? And Jesus tells him, today you'll be with me in paradise.
That doesn't seem very fair either.
It doesn't. The thief on the cross didn't do anything other than realizing Jesus is who he is, that he's the Son of God, and that he was taking the punishments for the world's sins, for yours, for mine, for yours. And the thief on the cross realized that. And in that moment, he received grace.
That's amazing.
This thing, Jesus did for him what he couldn't do himself. And that's why today's story of the thief on the cross is so crazy. But we got to keep going. So you ready to go back?
Let's go.
Here you go. Whoa! Like literally that Bible story is so crazy that the thief on the cross recognized who Jesus was and that he had not done anything wrong and that Jesus did give him grace right there just simply by recognizing. He didn't do anything to earn it. It is amazing. And it also sets up our big idea today.
That's right. Today's big idea is God's grace is big enough so we can go to him no matter who we are or what we've done.
So this thing of grace it really is for a lot of us. It's a hard thing to understand. And so today's challenge is a little bit special, but I want you to understand grace and I want you guys to understand grace in a new way. So are you ready for a challenge?
I'm ready.
We got to bring in a friend for this one.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, Tim, welcome to the show and welcome to the challenge.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going on and that makes it...
I have no clue.
Right, okay, so this is a really simple trivia quiz game. And so the first...
Whoa!
Yeah, no, Bible story button. This doesn't have anything to do with the quiz. Okay, we're back.
All right, okay.
Okay, so here's how the quiz goes. I have some questions about real, very odd laws in different states. So I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to get 3 answers right wins. But also, if the first person to get 3 answers wrong will lose, the loser gets a pie in the face.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start ladies first.
Okay.
Okay, so Jennifer, in a state, it is illegal to lend your vacuum cleaner to your next door neighbor. Is it Alabama, Connecticut, Colorado, or Delaware?
Connecticut.
You're wrong. Tim, do you have an answer?
Alabama.
You're wrong. Colorado.
What?
No. Okay, so here we go. Back to you, Jennifer. These are serious laws. You can look these up. Here we go.
Yeah, how is that a real law?
You may not take a picture of a rabbit from January to April without an official permit in which state? Is it Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, or Wyoming?
Wyoming.
Wyoming is right. Boom! Okay, we've got one right and one wrong and one wrong. So here we go. So Tim, this question
My
is
heart
to you.
rate is going up. I'm getting really stressed out.
Yeah, so here, this question is you. No one may carry an ice cream cone in their back pocket on a Sunday in the state of 1, Florida, 2, Georgia, 3, Hawaii, or 4, Idaho.
Georgia.
Georgia is right. Absolutely right. All right, so one right and one wrong to each of you.
High five myself.
Now, this one seems really appropriate for us here. Jen, performing puppet shows for money is punishable by a fine in the state of number 1, Indiana, 2, Iowa, 3, Kentucky, or 4, Kansas.
Wow.
Kentucky.
You're wrong with that. That's 2 wrong answers. Tim, to you.
I'd hate to go against my home state,
Yeah.
but I'm going to have to say Indiana.
And you're absolutely right. Indiana. Now, I want to say, I was a Kansas City
My
cop
heart rate's
for a
going
while.
down. Yeah.
And in the city of Kansas City, it was still on the books. I know that it is illegal to throw slop on a street. It was an old law from horses. So Tim's got 2 right, 1 wrong. Jen, you got 2 wrong. And this next question is to
Okay.
you. A city in one of these states forbids eating in a place that is on fire.
Wow.
It's a safe law.
Yeah.
So is it number 1, North Dakota, number 2, Arizona, or number 3, Texas, or number 4, Illinois?
I'm going to go with Texas.
Texas is absolutely wrong.
Wait.
3 wrongs to Jennifer.
Can I guess?
Please do.
I'm going to say Arizona.
No, it's
Oh.
Illinois. That's actually a law still on the
Okay.
books in Chicago.
No way.
So now, Jen, you've lost. Here is 3 wrong answers. And so we agreed that the punishment of that was a pie in the face. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine you're in one of those states.
Yes.
And you get arrested. Imagine you're in Chicago and a restaurant's on fire. You're
Yeah.
having a hot dog.
Yeah.
And you get arrested.
Yeah.
You go in front of the judge and you've broken a law.
Yeah.
And let's say the judge goes, your fine is a pie in the face. You would be totally justified in getting it. But remember, we're talking about grace. And so with grace, you've lost 3 wrong answers. So what happens is actually this.
Nice. Help. I got you, man. I got you.
That's coconutty. That's how grace works. Not only were you forgiven, he steps in and takes something from you.
Oh, man.
Tim,
I really like Grace.
thanks for being here.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Congratulations on
Yeah.
your win here.
Okay. Oh, wrong hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh?
Okay, Grace is making a lot more sense now.
And that's part of the reason why our big idea is so amazing, is God's grace really is incredible.
That's right. Now let's look at today's verse. In Titus 2:11, it says, read with me, God's grace has now appeared. By his grace, God offers to save all people.
Man, he offers to save all people, to save you, to save me, to save all of you out there. And so how does this grace thing work? You know what? I got one last thing today. So Jen, I bet people have referred to you before as you're a good egg, right?
I could say that.
You can say that. And if you're a good egg, I would say I'm probably just an egg. Maybe not a bad egg, but just an egg. So here's what I want you to do. So we'll think about sin is anything that separates us from God. It's those things that we shouldn't do. Like when we played the game, it's those laws that we shouldn't break. And so if we think about it, what are some of the things you've done that maybe you shouldn't? Like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and write. I know one thing. You sprayed me in the face with water. So I have, I've lied. I've stolen stuff. One time I ate cookies that I wasn't supposed to eat, and then I kind of rearranged them to try to make it look like I hadn't done it. So this, like, is kind of us apart from Jesus. This is like the thief on the cross. But God's grace does this amazing thing. If you see it, it's almost like Jesus just takes our sin and removes it. Nice. So all of that black marks, all of those nasty things that you've done, when you received God's grace, it's literally like all of that has just been peeled off and taken away. And God has made you, God's made you clean and removed the sin. So that is grace. So that sets us up for our first discussion question. Have you ever received God's grace, taken his forgiveness, and allowed him to bring you into relationship with him? Press pause.
And discuss. Excellent discussion.
Really?
I hope you guys take this opportunity to reflect and discuss the grace that God has given you.
Yeah, it's free, so we hope all of you have received it. See you guys next week.
Bye.